guys, so today we're going to be talking about some things that I kind of wish I knew before I started my candle business. All these tips can literally be applied to anyone that has a handmade business. All of these tips are not necessarily going to be in any chronological order. They're going to be some things I'm going to be looking down at my notes and basing it off of that. So one of the first things that I wish I knew before I started my candle business, getting my finances. You should have a separate account for your business and your personal. So when it comes time to see if your business is doing good, you can have some concrete evidence to show like, okay, I made this much here and I was able to pay myself this much here. A lot of times, you know, I was taking off from Paul to pay David, to pay Peter, and that's not very effective, especially if you want to be serious. Even in the beginning, when you don't have any orders yet, whether that just looks like, you getting another checking account at your bank. I know some banks, they kind of charge you for that. I have Navy Federal and all my checking accounts are free. Or a PayPal account, making sure, but I just suggest however you receive your money, make sure does not combine with your personal finances. Next thing I recommend is you should know your numbers, right? And when I say know your numbers is, yes, it may cost you $3 to make your candle or whatever product, but you need to also take into consideration your fixed cost. Your fixed cost is your electricity, your rent, your light bill. Granted, you know, if your rent is $1,000, no, you're not going to put that into your product, but you do need to educate yourself in how to apply fixed costs into your product, because what that's going to do and teach you is further down the line, if you want to like grow and get a warehouse, you would have learned how to incorporate those things into your pricing, because there's like no way that you're going to be able to like get a warehouse if you don't learn, you know, from when you're small, how to incorporate fixed costs and stuff of that nature into the price of your product. Legit, if I would have learned this a few years ago, it would have been a game changer, but hey, I know it now. It's not easy. It is something definitely that I do recommend that you take a course for, or you learn from someone that has knowledge in that, because it's not easy. And that literally brings me to my next step is hire a professional to handle your taxes. I have been doing my taxes myself for the last 2-3 years, and it just always seems like something's going wrong. Uncle Sam's always coming to me like, hey, I want more money. It's getting to be annoying. So I'm finally, you know, we made the decision finally, we're just gonna have someone else do our taxes and review them all from the past years to make sure they were done right, because being audited and all that fun stuff,
well, that's not fun. But being
audited and all that stuff, that's not fun, and ain't nobody got time for that. So I do recommend you know, having a professional do your taxes, because they can also help you to see like what kind of tax breaks you could be taking and what kind of things that you could be doing within your business. Accountant can also show you like, oh, hey, you spent a lot of money on these kind of supplies. Maybe you should reach out to the company and see if they have an option for you to have like wholesale or anything like that. So that's another thing too, that when you pay attention to your numbers, you get to see like, oh wow, I've spent $2,000 with this company in the last 6 months, and that kind of positions yourself to like make an offer to a company. And you never know, like sometimes like just by you being knowledgeable with your numbers and approaching the company in the right way, they may do a deal with you because you're a loyal customer and you have a track record of spending like a lot of money with them. So the next tip is putting that same energy that you do into creating new scents and new products into your back end. I can tell you, I made the biggest mistakes. When I first came out, I was just focused on having every scent in the world known to man, every product. I was just always launching a new product, always. And one thing that you need to pay attention to is, I'm gonna put Yankee Candle, for example. If I look at Yankee Candle's catalog and I see that they have 15 units, right? And I look at me as a smaller person and I have 14 units, that means I probably have too much, right? Because them as a bigger company, they know how to read their numbers, right? So by them knowing how to read their numbers, I can gauge that, okay, they deemed that 15 units was suffice for their company. So if I'm having something extremely close to that company, more than likely I'm putting too much money into all these scents. For instance, if you've noticed, like for me, my bestseller is tropical smoothie. It doesn't make sense for me to take some of that money that I could have applied to tropical smoothie and apply it to another scent that maybe 2 people buy. Yes, a few people may buy it, but it's not worth it to do it all the time, because that money could have been put to something that it is like proven that it's going to do well. And sometimes, like for me, like in the beginning, a lot of people were like, hey, can you make a frankincense and myrrh candle? I did it, and guess what?
Nobody bought it. Like, nobody.
I'm not gonna say nobody, but like, it was the slowest selling candle. So I finally had to make a decision, like, look, am I going to use wax for this candle when I could be using that same wax for another candle that I know people are going to buy? Like the same people that wanted the frankincense and myrrh candle, they were happy buying a tropical smoothie candle or a treasures candle. So sometimes I know it's fun. Don't trust me, I know it's fun. I get wrapped up in the creating a bunch of products. I do. I get it. I truly get it. But I'm telling you, that's the biggest mistake that you can make. Like, you should start off with a good 5 and work with that. Because if every person, like we're gonna gauge, if every person on your Instagram like followers hasn't bought something from you, then truthfully you don't need to be creating a new product all the time. Like, it depends on, you know, I feel like maybe clothing and stuff like that could get away with it, because for the most part, you know, people are looking to come back for new clothes. But something like, you know, candles, bath care and stuff like that, for the most part, if someone likes the scent or they like a candle, they're gonna come back and they're gonna come looking for that same candle. So I found that there was no need for me to create 15 million different scents of candles. I still like to have, you know, a little bit of each scent note available, but I'm not gonna have 5 tropical scents and 15 clean scents. For the most part, I have a little bit. And as I grow and as my fixed costs, you know, they lower, I'll have enough money to kind of play around and really add new things to my line. Next thing is stay consistent. That was one of my biggest downfall. I did not stay consistent. Like, how can you expect to disappear for 4 months and expect for somebody to trust you and to buy from you? It's hard. Life happens. Life gets in the way. But I've learned that by being productive and being prepared, that kind of helps inconsistencies to happen less often. Do I sometimes feel like I don't want to do anything? Absolutely. But I don't want to do anything looks like a day or 2 versus a month or 2. So definitely being consistent. I have seen a difference in being consistent from how I, you know, communicate with my customers, communicate with my social media fields and stuff like that. So I definitely do recommend being consistent and showing up. Bonus tip that I would say is you have to think ahead, right? A lot of times you say like, oh, I want to make $3,000 in my business. Now let's say your product costs $10, right? That means you would have to sell 300 of those units to make that $3,000, correct? So 300 units available. If you don't have 300 units available, then realistically, it's probably going to be a little difficult for you to make $3,000. So I always recommend thinking ahead of what goals you want to accomplish. And by doing that, it kind of shows you the kind of steps that you need to have in place to make those goals happen. I recently just completed a business plan, and I never realized that business plans are truly important. No matter how, the sooner you do it, the better. A lot of times if you're looking to get like a loan or even like a grant, because grants are amazing, that's money that you get that you don't have to pay back. A lot of these people and investors, they're looking to see a business plan. A lot of people are not wanting to just give you money and not really understanding your plan for this money. So now a business plan, it involves, you know, some work into it. My business plan is going to be 20 pages long, and the more in depth that you have it, the better that it looks. So I definitely recommend looking into resources that can help you write a business plan, getting you a mentor that can help you complete your business plan, because a business plan is very important no matter how big or small you are. And also, it's also a roadmap for you as a business owner. You get to look back at it, you you know, whether you look at it once a month, once a week, to kind of see, okay, in my business plan, I had it laid out that I wanted to accomplish this by this date. So it also is a good accountability for yourself to make sure that you're on track for the things that you wanted to establish for your business. That is all of the tips that I have for you today. If you enjoyed them, please leave a comment down below. If you have any additional questions, I'll make sure to get to answering all of them. Please don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Peace.